Welcome everybody to the first edition of the powerful Power Fall Series with the great Mindy Boyson, TPI certified level 3, nationally renowned golf fitness trainer. She's going to be helping us out with all of those things that we golf instructors don't know anything about.
Sure.
So we're going to talk about power. It's important to understand that force or power in golf equals mass times acceleration, but it's a little bit more involved than just that. Force in golf equals mass times energy squared. So you might ask yourself, how in the world can a guy like Justin Thomas, who weighs 140 pounds, hit it as far as Bryson DeChambeau, who weighs 245 pounds? How is that possible? Well, it's simple.
Wait, that's where I come in. Because everything he just said right there was a little bit too nerded up for myself. I don't know about you. Sorry, Ron. You're the smart one. For those of us who aren't so smart, as Ron is, it's really strength plus speed equals power. That's what I like to say. Take it away, Ron.
Yeah, what she said.
Strength plus speed equals power.
So what we're going to try to talk about is how can you increase the force or the power in your swing, either through mass, eat a hamburger on the way down, not a good idea, or increase the energy. How can you increase the energy? So she's going to talk about the energetic part about it. I'm going to talk about the golf swing mechanics involved with it. And in this first one, we're going to talk about what you can do in your swing, practice this at home to increase your power.
It's not that hard.
Not that hard.
You got to make a little bit of an effort, that's for sure.
And I would just say this, power is earned, it's not given. So even if you are over the age of 30, you can increase your power. It is possible. I have studies after study after study of people in their 60s and 70s, even 80s, increasing their club head speed and power by doing very simple things that we're going to recommend to you today.
Yes, and I see it every day. I see people increasing their club head speed by working on their body. He works on the club, I work on the body for the strength and the speed, and automatically it comes right out of the club head as distance.
What we're going to do in this first segment, we're going to talk about what you can do from the ground up to your waist. So this is all going to be lower body oriented. What are the things you can do with your feet, your knees, and your hips that will increase your power? Now, one of the things you're going to find that you can do that'll help a lot is if you were to lift your lead foot on the backswing. If you lift your lead foot on the backswing, if you're right-handed, that'd be your left foot. If you're left-handed, that would be your right foot. If you lift your lead foot in the backswing, that's going to give you the chance to then load into the ground. So what would happen, Mindy, after someone loads into the ground?
When you load into the ground, you become more explosive. Okay, and that's what we typically lose whenever we get older. We get maybe a little unsure of our footing. We're not so strong. We get a little wobbly in the knees, and the next thing we know, we try not to use our legs at all because we feel like we're going to lose our balance. That's the ultimate source of power, is from the ground up. I call it ground reaction force. You are reacting to the ground to get that ball going farther.
Yeah, and most of us, we don't realize, but when you push into the ground, it pushes back with an equal and opposite force. Those two together is what gives you additional speed. Now, one last nerdy point here. 32% of the engine that you generate velocity with is from your belt buckle to the bottom of your feet. That's 32% of the engine. 64% of the engine is from the bottom of your ribs to the base of your neck, and only 4% of the engine is your arms and hands. So as time goes on and as this gets quieter and quieter and you lose rotational velocity, you start hitting the ball harder and harder with your arms and hands, which sadly is only 4% of what's available.
Only 4%. And we can't capitalize on the 4%, but we can capitalize on the 32%.
The 32%.
Which is from the hips down. So let's do that.
And here's the real trick. The 64% and the 4% can only do as good a job as the 32% will allow you to do it. So the 32%, what you do from the waist down, really predetermines how good you're going to be with your trunk, with your rotational speed, and with your arms and hands.
Right. And my specialty is fit for golf, but it's actually fit for life as well. So if you aren't using that 32% in your daily activities, you're going to find that your gait is different. You're going to find that you're not walking, and you have a lot less mobility. So this is actually for your golf swing, but hey, it's for life too.
So let's start with the feet. What can you do to increase your ability to use your feet to maintain your balance and increase your power?
Okay, so the first thing is you really need to have strong feet, calves, and legs. So the first thing I want you to do, as we get a little bit older, we feel unsure about our feet. So going up and down on the toes, say 10 to 20 times, maybe holding on to something here, maybe holding on to a chair at your house, and really working on getting that vertical thrust up into the toes, and you're working the muscles of your feet. Then you can get some thrust going into the heels, which actually helps your hips go back, which is what we want in the golf swing. Okay, so toes, heels, every single day you can do that. Then we need absolute strength. Absolute strength is the base strength we need for daily living. So I like to have every one of my players warm up by sitting back, to learn to sit back into their hips, not knees going forward. This is the big no-no, but to sit back into their hips, see how low they can go, and then maybe add a little thrust to it. So we're working glutes, hamstrings, quads, calves, shins, and feet all at the same time. That is the #1 move right there. Squat to a thrust, squat to a thrust, and then a heel thrust. Okay.
And you know, that's exactly right. The long drive champions of either gender, the long drive champions all have this thing where they appear to squat and then jump. You look at Justin Thomas, his feet are basically in the air at impact. And so lifting the left heel in the backswing, as we talked about earlier, having a little bit of a sit down and start down, and then going to full extension with the feet, knees, and hips this way, that will definitely increase your power. In golf instruction, we like to call it squat and jump. So you squat and then you jump. You squat and then you jump in the transition. If you just did that, holding onto the back of a chair and made a little backswing, did a little squat, and then jump, that would give you the golf version of the exercises that Mindy's showing you.
Exactly. Let's say you don't feel good about jumping and you're saying, man, I haven't jumped for 10 years. I haven't jumped for 20 years. I haven't jumped for 30 years. I get it. I totally get it. So a lot of my clients will get in golf stance, put their left foot out or their lead leg, if they're a right-handed golfer, go into their backswing, and then see if they can trace a line to 6 o'clock, back to 9 o'clock. 6 o'clock, back to 9 o'clock. Got to hold on to something, that's fine. Preferably maybe you hold on here so you're in your backswing, but you don't want to sway. Also, getting into this lead leg, holding on to something, going through your swing, and now we're at 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Trying to work on my balance. Now, if you have good balance, take your foot off, by all means. But being able to finish like that shows you how you can actually load your hips a little bit more.
And then posting up into your left leg. One of the things that you can do to increase your hip speed is to straighten your left knee as you go through the ball. I see a lot of short hitters of the ball have this sagging through impact this way that actually decreases the amount of power that you can get from your lower body. So learning how to straighten your left knee, it doesn't have to be straight at impact, but straightening through impact is a great way to increase your hip velocity.
For those of you who do jump a little bit or think, oh, I'm going to try this, you can actually get your forward momentum, which is still vertical thrust. There's a vertical and a horizontal thrust, where you load and you jump 90 degrees. And then you load, you use this momentum toward your target, and you jump 90 degrees. Jump 90 degrees. Jump 90 degrees. And then, because whatever you do on one side, because we don't want to be lopsided, it's called the big break theory, is you want to be able to do it on the other side too, because one side works the accelerators, the other side works your decelerators, which keeps you injury free. So, loading, jump, loading, jump, loading, jump, loading, jump. Notice I did not load, jar. Not load, jar. That's bad. You want to be able to have deceleration too.
Land like a cat. So these are some of the things you can do at home in the comfort of air conditioning while we're in overseat that will give you much better use of the 32% of the power, and actually, as it relates to the other parts of the swing, will give you a big jump in your power from the waist down. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Thank you. I practice. I have a good trainer.